Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be one of the most exciting Tesla videos ever put out on this channel. Because why? Well, Grok just said some of the estimates for robotaxi deployments next year are conservative. Estimates of 20 to 35,000. Grok actually thinks we could have between 100,000 and 300,000 robotaxis out on the road next year. Now, how do we get to these numbers? We'll talk about it. But Grok having these kind of estimates may not be by accident. Okay? Maybe Grok's just talking, you know, his game, whatever he wants. But maybe it's one of those little Easter egg things that Tesla likes to do ahead of earnings. Kind of tell something to retail investors that they know Wall Street's not going to pick up on. Now, I just have to tell you, Wall Street is nowhere close to even 20 to 30,000 robotaxis out on the road next year. Like, the average guy in Wall Street is probably expecting a couple hundred, and that's partially why I'm so bullish on Tesla stock right now, heading into next Friday. Tesla earnings are going to be on Wednesday. I also think the options chain is massively underpricing the move that we could see post Tesla earnings. And I'll discuss a little bit of my trade idea and what I'm going to be putting on in terms of a trade for Tesla coming tomorrow. But if you guys want to check that out, link down below in the description of this video. I will be making that trade tomorrow just for transparency's sake. Okay. And then on top of that, we had the broader markets today that took a decisive turn in the bullish direction. Okay. We had what a lot of people would call a hammer candlestick. Okay. This big lower wick, like 95% of the time, this is a very positive sign for what's to come next in markets. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to get into. An exciting video, to say the very least. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And let's get started. So I actually want to start with the broader markets here just for a moment, because it ties directly into why I'm so bullish on Tesla, even heading into Tesla earnings now. The markets have taken a decisive bullish flip, okay? What we have here is a Wyckoff candle, okay? You have a huge bottom wick. Now, when you get a big bottom wick, you can call this a hammer candlestick as well. But when you get a big bottom wick like this, it means, in simple terms, the market started the day high, sellers took over, drove the market lower, but by the end of the day, buyers stepped in and markets closed at the high of the day or near the high of the day. That is going from bullish momentum to sharply bearish momentum back to sharply bullish momentum. When that happens, there's like a 90% success rate in terms of the markets going higher. Okay, let me just be clear. Right here on June 23rd, you had one of these lower wicks. Markets closed at a higher point. Although, you know, sometimes the wicks are not as big as what we've seen today. The bigger the wick, the more bullish it tends to be. But boom, you had a similar event here. Next day, the markets were up 1%. And that's really when the breakout rally started. Okay, what about this one here? Again, big lower wick, and markets moved higher. Same is true here. Same is true here. I mean, at the lows, same was kind of true then as well. Okay, no matter, like, almost every time you have that big bottom wick, just meaning sellers took over, drove markets lower, and then you closed higher than the low of the day, you close near the high of the day or at the high of the day, it tends to be a very positive correlation. What about right here? Look at that big old wick. The next day you were up 0.84%. Next day later you were up 0.52%, up 0.15%, up again, slightly red, and then up another big day. And I mean, markets just continue to move higher after that, right? What about back here? Bigger, lower wick, and you went higher. right here. Big lower wick. That's really a hammer candlestick, similar to the one we had today. And what happened? Markets went higher afterwards. Okay. Literally like 90% of the time, it correlates with much larger upside. And just judging on the way that markets reacted today, it's telling you something. Okay, great. We established that. It happened today. The odds are very much in our favor that stocks are going to continue to move higher from here. Now, I wanted to lead with this because depending on what happens in the broader markets, depending on the mood in the broader markets, can mean a lot heading into Tesla earnings. Now, I specifically have a strategy that I use for earnings that I think is the best way to trade earnings. If you guys want to come trade Tesla earnings with us, check out that link down below in the description of this video. Basically, I wanted to lead with that because I think it opens the door for opportunity heading into Tesla earnings. Because if the markets are in a very risk-on attitude, I think there's a lot of different ways to actually trade Tesla earnings with options. And that's what we plan on doing. I do have a specific option that I'm looking at purchasing tomorrow with a very specific strategy on how to trade earnings, okay? By actually investing in maybe an options trade, getting that initial capital back and letting some options ride. I have a very unique way of doing this compared to others. If you guys want to see all of the trades that I am making live in real time, check out that link down below in the description of this video. We do trade quite a bit during earnings, but the main strategy over there is identifying small cap opportunities and really value distortions, okay? Where like an AI stock is trading at a quarter of the valuation of its competitor, all because Wall Street doesn't know about it yet. Like, those are the opportunities that we are finding. And those are the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x opportunities when you can find those in small cap stocks. And that is the work that we are doing, putting in the time, the energy to find those names. And it's working, let me tell you, incredibly well. If you guys, again, want to check it out, link down below in the description of this video. But I am very bullish on Tesla earnings themselves. And that's what makes this, I think, such an interesting opportunity. Because if the markets do take this decisive risk on, attitude over the next couple of weeks, and we get Tesla earnings that are very bullish, you could soon find the stock in the 400s again. And that's the kind of setup that I see forming for Tesla. Now, as we've talked about before on this channel plenty of times, when it comes down to this earnings, it is absolutely critical because we don't really have any solid guidance thus far from Tesla and the robotaxi network, okay? Estimates are all over the place to where or how many robotaxis we're going to have out on the road next year. Shout out Task Force Talon for asking Grok this and posting it in the trading community. Shout out Evan, shout out Brock, shout out all of you guys that are very active. I have a hard time keeping up with you guys, which is awesome. Like, I wouldn't want it any other way. Task Force Talent here says, and some of these guys, I mean, put in so much work. It is incredible. They're going to make so much money. It says here, mainstream expectations for Tesla's robotaxi deployment in 2026, as reflected in analyst projections from firms such as UBS, JP Morgan, and Bloomberg Intelligence, remain conservative, anticipating 20 to 35,000 vehicles due to persistent regulatory scrutiny, safety monitoring requirements, and gradual transition from human safety drivers to remote oversight. My estimate, incorporating these factors alongside Tesla's production and ambitions and software advancements, projects a higher range of 100,000 to 300,000 vehicles by the end of 2026, assuming progressive regulatory approvals enable scaling beyond pilot operations. This comes from Grok. What? Okay, Grok. Yeah, so they call 20 to 35,000 vehicles conservative. And Grok's estimate is between 100,000 and 300,000 vehicles. Let's connect the dots here, but you know, Elon is kind of the main guy at XAI, which runs Grok. Elon is kind of the main guy at Tesla, and Grok has these expectations. I mean, call it tinfoil, but maybe something was programmed into Grok as like an Easter egg, or there's some kind of larger, you know, meaning to this. We know Tesla likes to do this, kind of give retail investors a little bit of a heads up to what could happen before, you know, big money. So I just find it very interesting that Grok has this take. And back to kind of where Wall Street is at. I think when you look at the stock being $300 instead of $600, you're really not pricing in anywhere close to even the quote-unquote conservative numbers that Grok says for the robotaxi total deployments in 2026, right? I think if you asked like many Wall Street guys what their expectation is for how many robotaxis are going to be out on the road next year, they would probably say like a couple of hundred, maybe a couple of thousand if things went really well. Nowhere close to 20 or 30,000. I think that would be exceptionally bullish news on Tesla earnings. And we are light years of a spread away from 200, 300,000 robotaxis. Like that is not even in the most bullish of Wall Street projections. You may hear Elon Musk say we could have 100,000 robotaxis out on the road by the end of next year. This time is going to be different than maybe other just off top, you know, kind of comments we've got, because Tesla's actually operating the robotaxi now. Like, it went from a proof of concept thing to a proof of work. Like, it's actually happening. There is a robotaxi network that is operational. So it adds a lot to the credibility of any what could be huge guidance we get from Tesla on earnings. What I find most interesting, though, is actually what the options are pricing in for Tesla earnings, okay? When I look at July 25th's expiration, 9 days away from now, when I look at some of these options that are less than $100 or right around $100, let's say here, the 380 call is $114, and it's only 18.35% out the money to essentially break even. That is not pricing it a lot for a Tesla earnings with still 2 more days of trading plus 2 days after Tesla earnings to trade. Like, we're not pricing in a lot in terms of the options chain, okay? Relative to what we normally price in for Tesla. And I can tell you right here what we're actually pricing in for Tesla earnings. You do this by adding the strike that's closest to the money right there. So that's 1320 in options terms, and then you're going to add the put as well right there. Plus 1230. It gives you $25.50 divided by $322. You're looking at only about 8%. Like, the options are only pricing in 8% between now and next Friday, which covers Tesla earnings. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Somebody is dramatically underpricing Tesla's options chain. Now, the big news today that sent Tesla stock higher was the Model 3 Plus that was registered in China that is coming in the fall. We don't have a lot of details on this one. We're expecting up to 380 miles of range, which is nice, okay? Some differences, right? There's going to be something different about this Model 3. And the Model YL was really the one that caught most of the headlines because it is going to be like a true third row. in a like SUV style of the Model Y. So instead of paying $30,000 more to get the Model X, you're going to be able to get the Model Y and still get that sufficient third row seating. That's expected to be a big seller in China. That's going to be a big seller in the US as well when it does come. And that is expected to launch in China in autumn or around the fall, and probably launch in the US around the same time, I would imagine. Now, another big question that Wall Street has that I think they're probably putting too much weight on at this point, and again, kind of underlooking the AI aspects of Tesla, is the Model 2. I still think Tesla plans to launch the Model 2, okay, this year. If not this year, by early next year. And that is going to be sufficient to kind of get that off the topic of conversation, right? A lot of Wall Street, they're like if you asked Wall Street right now, what do you care more about, Robotaxi or the Model 2? A good chunk of them, let's call it half of them, would probably say the Model 2. That would say, or they would say, that is more impactful for Tesla. Little do they know, according to Grok, we could have a projection of hundreds of thousands of robotaxis out on the road next year. I'll tell you right now, Wall Street is looking in the wrong area, and they are going to be surprised, to say the least, on Tesla's earnings when we get confirmation of the Model 2 that's still coming this year, in my opinion, and potentially hundreds of thousands of robotaxis out on the road next year. That is going to shock everyone. And the way that Tesla gets hundreds of thousands of robotaxis out on the road next year is by allowing Tesla owners to turn their vehicles into robotaxis. Tesla's not going to be able to make 100,000, 200,000 cybercabs next year and deploy them in the typical Waymo sense. But they will be able to turn on people's Teslas and allow them to do robotaxi operations. It's going to be up to people to keep their vehicles clean, things like that. Okay, there's probably going to be detection systems if somebody like throws up in the car or something. But that's the idea. Okay, and that should be a it's going to be like a services profit margin. At least it should be. Just Tesla taking a cut of you and your Tesla doing robotaxi rides. That should be very profitable for Tesla. Now, tomorrow, we are going to get retail sales month over month for June. We are expecting 0.1% for a month over month number. Last month was negative 0.9%. So that would, I guess that's an okay number, but it's still not great considering last month was so negative. Hopefully this gets revised up, and hopefully the number tomorrow comes in better than 0.1%. But we will get export prices month over month expecting 0%. Import prices month over month expecting 0.3%. Also, initial jobless claims are expected to rise from 227,000 to 235,000. We will get the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, expecting that to come in at -1. Retail sales, excluding autos, that last month came in at negative 0.3%. So autos were a drag on that last month, and we're expecting a positive 0.3% number. Now, export prices year over year and import prices year over year for June will also be coming out. We get Philly Fed new orders, prices paid, employment, capex, and business conditions, as well as the NAHB housing market index and retail inventories excluding autos as well. So couple of different sets of economic data. Maybe the algos got a whiff of what retail sales are going to look like tomorrow. Perhaps that's why we got some of that, risk on activity today. Like a lot of just small caps were running today. Okay. Tesla, risk on area, just ran today. I mean, it was really bullish for markets under the surface today. Once the whole Trump firing Powell thing cleared up and Trump said he wasn't going to do that, you took a decisive flip to the bullish side. So I'm excited what the next, week or two could look like for Tesla stock specifically, even for the broader markets. But I think for Tesla, They are really mispricing Tesla's earnings. I think Tesla could have a 20% rally on earnings if they tell us we could have 100,000 robotaxis out on the road next year. Like, Wall Street is nowhere near those expectations. Now, from current levels, a 20% rally would put the stock at about $386 per share or so. But I think you could rally quite a bit even before Tesla earnings on Wednesday and then get a 20% rally. For an example, if we make our way into the 350s or so, let's say exactly 350 before Tesla's earnings on Wednesday, then get a 20% rally, now you're talking Tesla stock around $420 per share. I think that could be in the cards over, again, the next like 10 days, the next 7 trading sessions. You could see quite a rally in Tesla stock. But hey, if you guys want to come join the trading community, check out that link down below in the description of this video. As I have said before, and I will say again, what we are really doing over there is, yes, we trade earnings. Yes, we trade Tesla. We day trade from time to time. But what we're really doing is going out, putting in the work, finding those small cap opportunities that are being overlooked by Wall Street. These are stocks that could 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x in size. And we're going out looking for those companies before everyone else realizes, oh my gosh, this company is such a good company, and FOMO's in at the top, right? We're getting in at the ground floor. I've done this with, Nebius, Novartis, IONQ, Applied, Novartis. There's been so many, even in the last year. This strategy has worked very well, and it's already working with some of the stocks that we recently bought, and I think it's going to continue to work. So check out that link down below in the description of this video for that one. I will be posting my trade and full breakdown of what my plan is and how I'm going about this trade around Tesla earnings in the group tomorrow. So check it out if you have not done so already. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.